On this episode of Let's Explore This, we are going to be exploring what may be the most important landmark in all of Tarboro. Though there are other buildings in town that are certainly important landmarks, what makes the Blunt Bridger's house, sometimes called the Grove, so important is rather simple. It is an important historic landmark that is open to the public as a museum. Well, usually. Now, the document used for this episode, it does date back to 1971, a time before the house was put to use as a museum. Of course, things could have changed since then. The document is incredibly short for this one, so no, this is not going to be a lengthy video. However, I am going to include extra stuff related to the building and what it was put through in its later years, such as, it having been turned into a museum. So let's do this. Once upon a time, on July 3rd of 1795, Blake Baker sold to Thomas Blount a tract of land which bordered the north side of the Tarboro town common, and it contained approximately 296 acres, more or less. The acreage included all of what is now the city of Tarboro, east of Albemarle Street and north of the Common. Blount built his house, the Grove, atop a small hill on this property, probably about 1808. Blount, he was quite active in North Carolina politics, being a member of the Hillsborough Convention of 1788, and one of the first Republican congressmen from Edgecombe County. When he died in 1812, the house and land were transferred to his nephew, John G. Blount, Jr. After John's death in 1828, the property passed to Sarah L. Blount of Raleigh. On August 13th of 1831, Sarah sold this house to Lewis D. Wilson. Now, Wilson, he made his home here until his death in 1847. Wilson represented Edgecombe County at the Free Trade Convention in Philadelphia in 1827. He also led a group of Edgecombe volunteers in the Mexican War in 1846. After Wilson's death, the Grove, it was sold at public auction to Joseph J. Pender for $6,555. Pender sold the portion of the property east of Main Street and north of the Common, including, yes, this big house, to John L. Bridgers in 1849. Now, Bridgers, he represented Edgecombe and Wilson counties in the Confederate Congress, and he also served as a general in the Confederate Army. Then, following the war, he was active in Democratic politics and was presiding justice of the inferior court. John L. and Mary E. Bridgers sold this big house to George Howard, Jr. on September 9th of 1879. During the 1890s, a school was conducted in the house by the widow of Confederate General W.D. Pender. In 1939, E. Mabry Hart sold the house to the town of Tarboro, and it is now used for administrative offices for the city school system. However, folks, that is no longer true, but we'll get into that a little bit later. This house is of historical interest. It has been the home of several prominent state and national political and military figures. In particular, the Blount family was one of North Carolina's most important and influential early families. Furthermore, architecturally, the Grove, yes, it is a fine example of ambitious vernacular design in the Federal style. What the Blount Bridger's house is an interesting two-story Federal frame house thrust up on a raised basement. The front and rear elevations are 5 bays wide, having large windows with 9/9 sash and central doorways with simple 4-light transoms. The house features a gabled roof that rests on a modillion cornice. In each gable you can find a fanlight centered between a pair of brick double-shouldered chimneys laid in a Flemish bond. The only significant exterior alteration so happens to be the addition of a shed porch which surrounds the building. Wow! So this completely wraparound porch? It is not original? Oh well, but also on the grounds is the restored Pender Museum and the restored circa 1810 Silas Everett House. Okay, folks, something appears to be, I don't know, a little bit wrong with this picture. Yes, this certainly could be a very small house. It would have to be a very small one if that were the case. It looks more like an outbuilding, which apparently is what it is. You see, there is this marker here, and it says the Phillips Dependency from 1846. But, folks, here's the thing. If this is the Phillips Dependency, and that there is the Pender Museum, and that over there is the Blunt Bridger's house, then where is the Silas Everett house? I do not see that on the grounds here. Maybe this could have been it. Maybe later or at some point in time it could have also been used as the Phillips Dependency. Well, probably not, if the circa 1846 sign is correct. This came later than that. Could the Pender Museum also be that? Well, let's take a walk to the front of the building. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is it. This is the Silas Everett house. So, folks, we found it. Basically, it is the Pender Museum, circa 1810. This is it. But I'm not exactly comfortable with the way the document goes on to present this, as I've just read it. It makes it sound like this and the Silas Everett house are two different buildings. In fact, I believe they are the same. But yes, this one over here, it is also restored and probably moved from a different location. Oh, wait, one more thing. Can we get inside? No, it's locked. But look at this glass on here, like all this wavy glass. You can tell that is nothing new. A peek in here is possible, though. And there's an old kitchen and table. That's probably the old-time kind of setup, too, I would think. How about this window? Can we get a peek in this window? Yes, we can peek in this window. Well, there's some kind of little cubbyhole in the wall below the stair there. I wonder what's inside there. I think there is a stair. You can't really see it. Maybe you can see it from the other window? I don't think I can get up that high. Let's see. Yeah, it's kind of raised up quite high, too, like the Blunt Bridger's house, so I don't know. There are steps here, but the door has no window. That's not going to work. And there is a window there, but you know what? The camera might go up there. I can't reach up there, so I'm not going to be able to see what you're going to see. Let's see. What do you see in there? Anything? Anything cool and interesting? Well, though, what I can and can't see, that's not exactly true. You know, when I begin to edit this footage, I will be able to see what's in that window. I just can't do it here, right now, because I'd have to look at the footage first. Anyhow, While the area surrounding the house has changed, the house itself has and still does remain a testament to the 19th century. And you, folks, all of you are such lucky duckies, because, you see, for this house, you will be getting an internal tour. Yes, it does act as a museum these days. However, due to COVID and reportedly a personal emergency, lately the house has not been open for some time. Still though, important people from town, they provided me with a tour. Before we do venture inside, however, let me just say this. Unless I explicitly know, or there is a sign or something, I cannot be certain if I am going to know which room is which inside the house, as the document discusses it. Yeah, I might be able to get a bit of an idea. Simply stated, when touring, I did not have the document with me, so I doubt if I will have covered everything as it relates to the document. There is also talks of artwork and more, which may or may not even still be present. Reportedly, some stuff shown is said to be seasonal. Also, this place has not been open to the public for a bit of time prior to this footage being shot. As such, some rooms might be a bit messy, a bit cluttered. Not sure, so WYSIWYG, folks, what you see is what you get. Regardless, let's do this. Still though, when I did that tour, there was a part of the house that I missed. A part that I would like to get inside, I think. I kind of want to know. What is in there? Wow, that's open. Oh, gardening and maintenance stuff, I think. That's what it looks like. So, not much going on under there. Over here, though, if you look closely, you will notice the locks on the doors of the house are original. I wonder if they mean every door or just the main entry doors. However, that lock that you just saw, not the one over here, but the one on the door beneath here, is that one really original? Okay, so in plan, the house, it features a traverse hall that runs north to south. It is off-center, meaning the two rooms on the east are larger than the two on the west. The hallway, it is divided by a flat transverse archway featuring a primitive but still stylized pediment. Today, the first floor of the house, it is a museum filled with 19th century furnishings and artifacts. On one of the walls, reportedly, you can find a 1775 Malzahn map of North Carolina. Yup, that's it right there. Archival records and architectural information about Edgecombe County homes are said to be actively collected and preserved within this very house. Furthermore, a highlight of the first floor is the so-called Great Room. It holds a portrait of Blount and a large dining room. Next to that Great Room is the Keeping Room, where food was brought in and held, that is, until being served to guests at the dining room table. Visitors that take a tour of the house can learn not only about the house itself, but about the history of the town of Tarboro, as well as the county, which, if you do not know, is Edgecombe. And they can learn about things like the ladies' parlor across the hall, a favorite of brides who chose this historic home as their wedding venue. A circa 1850 piano from New York is a prominent piece of furniture that can be found in the parlor. Another significant furnishing in the room is a sofa, once owned by then-resident Penelope Battle. The sofa may be a Thomas Day piece. Other stops on the first floor could be the hall with the newest addition to the house, a circa 1852 Solomon Pender clock in working condition. Then there is the so-called Edgecombe room, where visitors can learn about Lord George and Sir Richard Edgecombe, from whom the county got its name. Now, an elevator could take people to the second floor. Yes, they have managed to somehow stuff an elevator into this house, but you know what? Elevators are boring. We are taking the stairs. Why? Well, my doc says I need the exercise. Besides, it's a beautiful and original thing. So, in the rear hall, there is this stair which ascends in 3 flights, connected by square landings. On display on the second floor, in both the hall and the side room, are original pieces by Hobson Pittman, an Edgecombe County artist who studied at prestigious art academies far away in Philadelphia. Among Pittman's pieces on display are a pastoral scene he painted at the age of 10, and a work called The Roses, a romantic painting. Furthermore, the second floor, it is said to have held a variety of seasonal exhibits. With the death of Hobson Pittman in 1972, the Pittman family, as well as the town of Tarboro, thought this house would be a good facility for the arts. Aside from that, the Grove has also served as a community gathering place over the years. It was the community house right from the 1930s until the 1970s. There was even a swimming pool outside. Oh yes, there was, and let me show you right where it was. So, folks, tell me, do you see these gardens? Well, they are now present where that pool used to be. In fact, back when the town core was registered as a National Historic District, the swimming pool was present, as evidenced by this entry straight from that nomination form, that document. Well, today, in 2020, it's gone, only to be replaced by this beautiful arboretum. In fact, what we have here, this arboretum, it was founded in the 1990s when the Blunt Bridgers House Garden Committee began to turn the property into the lovely setting you see these days. The arboretum was established in March of 2019, and it has become home to hundreds of varieties of flowers and plants, as well as to thousands of happy pollinators and other wildlife. Okay, so let's see if we can get any footage of some of those happy pollinators and other wildlife. Let's walk around and see. Do we see any bugs? You know, that's what we would be looking for, bugs. Probably bees and certain types of bugs. I mean, not all bugs are good for a garden, only certain bugs. Do we see any of those certain bugs? I know you all want to see those creepy crawlers, don't you? I know I do. What about a spider? Do you think we might find any spiders in here? And I guess there could even be snakes. They're not exactly creepy crawlers of the insect type. And they're not pollinators, but they're wildlife. I just don't really see any. And yes, it's definitely hot out. There should be bugs here, but I haven't seen anything flying around. Oh well, there's something. Little gnats. That's not the kind of bugs I'm looking for. Gnats are just annoying. Unfortunately, though, I don't have the time to go around hunting for little bugs. There's a door in the back.
There's a little door in the back. That's where they hide the bad children.
Yeah.
It's moderately creepy.
Most old houses like this have creepy places.
Absolutely. That's what makes
Some
them
have
great.
secret doors and stuff.
Yes.
So, visitors to the house, they can also find 19th century ceramics and 20th century Jugtown pottery, along with silver and iron utilitarian objects. The extensive Batts textile collection includes 18th century clothing, quilts, military uniforms, and household linens. Now, yes, I am not sure if that is still going to hold true. You know how it is. Things could have easily changed over time. For the Grove, the Blunt Bridger's house, this has been Fedora Bones, a man who is growing far too old, but still must move on.